The parade of record highs continues as the stock market rally goes broad and worldwide. Worldwide we're seeing records, and many of the sectors as well as major indices as well as industry groups for United States are also hitting all-time highs. Dollar is rebounding, but it was cut short by the Greenland fiasco that happened over the weekend. And as a result, gold and silver have broken out to fresh all-time highs. And I think this has to do with, obviously, with dollar weakness, but possibly also with just global unease about the state of affairs. And we'll also look at oil, which continues with its rebound and could be headed somewhat higher before a new selling wave could set in. All this and more in today's edition of MasterChartsTrading.com market recap for Friday, January 23rd, 2026. Please don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, make a comment. Thank you for all the comments that I've been getting. I really appreciate it. Please keep them coming. This will tell the YouTube algorithm that this is an important video and more people will see them. Thank you again. If you're a subscriber, stay tuned. We have a very busy members-only video. We'll be concentrating somewhat on Forex universe. But of course, we'll also look at some of the large cap stocks as well as a few of the speculative securities. Some of the new additions this week, we're looking at Novavax, Moderna, Day One Bio, Olin Corporation, Patterson-UTI, and Cabaletta Bio, among others. So stay tuned. If you're not yet a subscriber, consider signing up by going to the link in the description and following it to Master Charts Trading and signing up. Throughout the presentation, I'll be using my proprietary MasterChartsTrading.com price action indicators, for which you can sign up on my site as well. Okay, looking at S&P 500 currently. So we hit a record right there last Tuesday on the 13th of January, and so far we haven't really made a new record. This is a Friday the 16th candlestick, followed by a gap down on Monday, and then immediately we saw the closing of this gap. If we look on the 4-hour chart, it's actually quite interesting, and we're looking at continuous security. So we're currently looking at ticker symbol US 500 from Capital.com. So again, if I'm trading intraday for anything less than 1 day's interval, I want to look at a continuous security, such as, for example, this one, US 500 from Capital.com. And notice on this chart, it's pretty obvious that we saw a drop. For example, here back in December of last year, we saw a drop from the highs towards the blue line. And this is, again, don't forget, this is a 4-hour chart. Each candlestick is 4 hours worth of activity. And then new records. And then there's that Greenland fiasco between January 16th and January 18th. We dropped towards the blue line yet again, and again we found support around there. So right now we're seeing sort of this green line coming as resistance. So far we have not been able to make new records, but this gap basically has been closed. Yeah, it's been closed already. So most likely we will see a continuation higher from here. Obviously, it's possible that we won't see the continuation higher, but chances are that we will see new records relatively soon, and I will explain why, because a lot of stock indices and major sectors are hitting records. Namely, here's one, high yield bonds, JNK, just hit an all-time high. Why do I care? As always, I'm going to briefly show why do I care about high yield bonds. And the reason for that is because high yield bonds, ticker symbol JNK, and stocks correlate highly. In other words, they're doing about the same thing, more or less. So down below here we have a correlation coefficient, and you can see that high yield bonds, JNK, correlates highly to the S&P 500. So this is important when high yield bonds hit records, and stocks most likely will hit records as well. So pretty much good news there. IWM small caps also hit an all-time high. We can also look at correlations between small caps and large cap stocks, and it's pretty darn good. You know, mostly it's positive, vast majority is positive. In other words, when small caps go up, large caps also go up, and vice versa. Some of the sectors that hit records, here is basic materials, or XLB materials sector. That's an all-time high. Pretty, you know, nice move. Again, notice this upward facing arrows, and this is where we would want to be buying, right around the blue line. For example, the latest opportunities were around November of last year with a very nice gain. Energy, same thing. We want to be buying around the blue line, and again, this is an all-time high for energy, XLE. So just to be clear, energy, XLE, contains a lot of oil producers and oil stocks, and oil stocks, oil producers, oil companies make money, you know, regardless of what price the oil is, because they make money from selling the product. So yes, oil is, you know, dropping or relatively inexpensive, but oil companies are doing quite well, because you can see correlation between energy companies and the general stock market is higher than correlation between energy companies and oil itself. Industrials, XLI, also made the record. General Electric, Uber Technologies, Caterpillar, Boeing are in this group. So a lot of heavy machinery and such things. Again, all-time high. So pretty obviously good news. As well as XLP, consumer staples. This is I believe, a multi-year high, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Actually, it's an all-time high. Yeah, consumer staples also made an all-time high. Some of the sector, or rather some of the industry groups ETFs, here is biotechnology, IBB, also at records. I'm just showing this to show how broad this market is. Transportation made an all-time high, so this puts pretty much any doubter of the Dow theory into question. So in other words, Dow theory says that if Dow Jones has hit a record, and we just did hit a record for Dow Jones, the transportation sector also must hit a record, and so both Dow Jones and transportation sectors also hit records, confirming the Dow theory of stocks. Some of the smaller sectors and industry groups, here is regional banking, ticker symbol KRE, so lots of small and medium-sized regional banks in this ETF. In other words, very diversified with respect to size, but within the same industry group, again, all-time highs. Very important sectors, semiconductors, SMH, also at record highs, as well as very interesting TAN, ticker symbol TAN, solar is a multi-year high. So no matter what's going on there in the Washington and their love-hate relationship with the alternative methods of generating power, solar is doing again just fine. From the worldwide perspective, we're seeing record records were hit for emerging markets. So China is a big part of the emerging markets. So pretty much, again, as I said last time, tide lifts all boats. Emerging markets is one of the boats, and it got lifted to record highs again. Broad American market, RSP, this is equal weight S&P 500. So all of the companies within S&P 500 are weighted equally, not capitalization based. Again, at all-time highs. Again, very broad rally. European stocks, VGK, also at all-time highs. And finally, this is an ETF called VEU, also known as all world except United States, also hit a record. So I think pretty much this is as good as it gets. We're hitting record after record, and we're seeing a broad participation, not only domestically within the United States, but also worldwide. Many countries are hitting records, and this is also, again, despite all the craziness we're seeing on TV and on YouTube, such as war in Ukraine, United States Greenland ambitions, as well as Venezuela, I don't know, regime change, I suppose. Not to mention Iran and all the other things going on in the world. So, by and large, I would ignore the news and concentrate on the charts. And I've been pretty much telling the same story for as far as I remember this channel. Ignore the news, concentrate on the chart. If the chart is telling you to go ahead and buy, go ahead and buy. If the news are telling you to buy, ignore the news. All right, let's move on. We're currently looking at the dollar currency index, ticker symbol DXY. So a few weeks ago, I noticed this rally that began around December of last year and continued pretty well unabated until 19th of January, so just a few days ago. Also notice these indicators are curving down, and if we turn on the projection into the future, you can see the indicators are actually curving down still more. And what's really important here is that they do line up with the current indicators. So I will still pay attention to these indicators, to the projection in the future. However, notice that what's happening, we're seeing a pretty significant selling here. And again, we're approaching, multi-year lows. These are multi-year lows from September 17th of this year. So not a very good sign for the dollar. Some of the breakouts and that just occurred, for example, New Zealand dollar broke out into a new uptrend, and the Australian dollar hit a multi-year high versus the US dollar, as well as Mexican peso, of all the currencies, also hit a multi-year high against the dollar. So dollar is under pressure from pretty much everywhere, except for up till recently from the Japanese yen, but that could change pretty soon as well. Why do we care? The dollar is under pressure. We do trade precious metals, so gold, XAU, USD, so gold divided by US dollar. Dollar just got even weaker, so gold is taking advantage of that. If you were able to get in on gold, last opportunity to get in on gold was way back when, in almost 2 years ago, in February 2024. That would have been the opportunity that I was talking about at around 2000, because this is where we are seeing, a close above the blue line right there. You can see multiple arrows here, and then it just took off. So from 2000 to over close to 5,000, basically we're seeing non-stop record highs, non-stop breakouts. Is gold overextended? Pretty much, yes. However, will it turn around now? Nobody knows. So we will be watching the dollar. If the dollar makes a new low, all bets are off. We could see fresh records for gold. If dollar kind of holds support here and maybe rallies, especially notice the way the indicators are curving down, they're going to get very close to one another here in March, early April. Let's see what happens, in that future. But for now, it doesn't look good for the dollar. It looks pretty good for gold and gold miners and silver. So here's gold miner, here are the gold miners, GDX. Latest opportunity for that one was about a little bit under a year ago, in May of 2025, with a just tremendous run from 45 to over 100, so over 100% gain. Again, congratulations if you opened. As well as silver, XAGUSD. This thing is just a monster. It went from $32 to over 100, so almost tripled. Again, congratulations if you were able to open. But again, the latest opportunity to buy was in May of 2025. Right now, I thought that we're seeing a like a tapping candle here back on 29th of December. I was, clearly it blew right past that level on the 12th of January and continued higher. So will it stop now? Again, nobody really knows. I mean, it obviously looks overextended, but again, nobody knows if or when it will stop. Finally, I wanted to wrap up with oil, CL1 exclamation point on TradingView. So oil so far has failed to meaningfully break down, and I was referring to the levels that I kept talking about here. So let's look on the weekly and a longer term chart. So there is that level. So about $65 or so, and notice that we've been trying to hold that level since April of 2025, and then again we kind of touched that level around October of last year, again of December of last year, and again January of this year. And so far again we failed to break down below that about 55 level or so. 55, 56 level, and now we're actually moving back up. If we did break down, I think we could have seen oil easily in the 30s and 20s, but so far it has failed to do that. And looking at the more granular chart, the daily chart, so this rebound rally from multi-year lows occurring in December of last year still continues. The very short-term target is just slightly higher at around $63, which is the red line. But, it's also possible that oil won't stop here and maybe it will continue higher. If we do get to this blue support resistance line, which is at $69 currently, then oil would be in an uptrend again, and we'll be thinking about buying it. However, it hasn't yet occurred, so we are still watching it and we're going to see if around $63 would be a good place to sell it short, like we did before. Notice those downward facing arrows. These are opportunities to sell oil short. And I believe this is it. Perhaps the video is a little on the short side, but if you do sign up, come over to masterchartstrading.com. Sign up for one of the products. Again, so the trading indicators are these lines on the chart, this green, blue, red, and yellow line. They're available for tradingview.com. Once you sign up on my site, open a free TradingView account, and then once you do that, I will enable the indicators for you on your interface for tradingview.com. It's actually quite easy. You just sign up and I'll walk you through it. It's super easy. Of course, the other one is newsletters. So I send out daily alerts and weekly members-only videos about various securities that we trade. So notice this week we'll be covering quite a bit of Forex securities, some of the large cap stocks, as well as some of the small cap and speculative securities that are listed here. So pretty busy week. And best deal is, of course, to get both trading indicators and newsletters. I have yearly plans and monthly plans. Yearly plans offer 2 free months compared to the monthly plans. So go ahead and sign up. There's also a free 7-day trial, so you have plenty of opportunities to cancel, but not a lot of people do. That's it for this week's recap. Again, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, share this video, make a comment. Make a comment in the video, even put thumbs up in the comments. That would be very helpful in promoting this channel. Thank you for watching and have another great trading week. Bye-bye.